Welcome guys, this is Eric. We are here for the part 2 of the flight. We are in the Airbase A320NEO V2 from Inibuilds of Flight Simulator. So we are flying from Goiania to Anapolis, Brazil. The CAL letters are Sierra, Bravo, Golf, Oscar 2, Sierra, Bravo, Alpha, November. So we got everything working just fine. Got the APU bleed. Now we're gonna close our windows. And start our engine. So we got our beacon light on. We ask for the pushback. Since we have our APU on, we already don't need the external power anymore. The ground service automatically take the chocks off, and we have manually to take our parking brakes. We ask the ground service, the truck will start to making the push back. So for those who doesn't know how you can get to the runway, like big airports and stuff, always the airport gives you that the pilot have any difficulty or whatever, the follow me car. So you always will have help, because if you are unfamiliar with the aircraft, not with the aircraft, with the airport, it's gonna give it to you, and it's gonna be just fine. Now we're gonna start our engine. This is the panel of the engine. We're gonna start. Immediately we're gonna have the engine starting. After the pushback is done, you always put your parking brakes on, because it's very important, because maybe it's windy or whatever. So we got the first engine running just fine. Now we go for the second engine. Now we're gonna put our flaps to 1. That's our flaps. see the flaps moving. When we press flap 1, that's what happened. So we have the flaps out. Now you can see the elevators and the ailerons and the rudders. Now it's on the flying position. Aircraft is on. This is the vision that we have from inside the passenger cabin. That's why it's so quiet. The Airbus A320NEO, it's way quieter than the Airbus A320CEO, which is the normal version. So we now turn it off. APU bleed, compressor. The FMC, the computer, is telling us to turn on. We can turn it off the engine. Remember that this, the real plane, you have the exactly time to start the engine and pull up the starter, or you will burn out the starter from the engine. So the fuel, the cross feed from the fuel, we have on. So the computer is telling us that parking brake is on, APU is available. Now it's unavailable because we turn it off, and the cross feed is on. So if we go here, the fuel, it's a little bit unbalanced. As you can see here, we got 1,040 pounds, and over here 1,160 pounds. So the cross feed will do this. We'll take when we start flying, we will balance. If sees the need, here's the thing. If there is the need, we'll balance the fuel. So now we have all the messages, everything. We go to the panel lights, as you guys can see here. It's like I told you guys before. You go to taxi, and if it is at night, you're gonna turn on the runway turn, which is very good, so you can see, the turns that you're gonna make. which is this light right here. Put a little bit at night so you guys can see better. Right there. So this is the turn lights. So as you can see, you have a better vision. If we turn it off, we don't have the light. And if it is very dark, like this, which it's very dangerous, that's what that light is for. So you can see when you need to turn, you can see where you're going. And if I turn that off, I don't see anything. Right now we have skies, we have stars, we have a bright sky at night, but it's not good. So we always turn it on, the taxi light, and take off, taxi light, it's gonna be brighter. So as you can see right there, it's brighter. It's like that, very brighter, normal, off. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna put our time back so you guys can see it. Let me put a little darker so you guys can see a little better, like the instruments and all that. So we have here that we're gonna take off from the runway 14. So we're gonna use paddles for brake. As you can see here, press it. Right there. This is to rest your feet. You have the notch to calibrate, and then you use for the rudder left, right, and you put your takeoff position, which is going to be informed by the dispatcher. Now we are good to go. Sorry for the waiting. I opened the window and I locked the turning position. So now we are using the position to taxi. It's very important for you to know that you can never overspeed taxi with the speed above 30 knots. So it's very important for you to know that. So with some experience, you're gonna learn how to put the wheel right on the yellow line right there. But as the old saying, you need to learn how to crawl before you can walk. So on the simulator, you have the line to follow, but on a real life, if you are unfamiliar with the signs, but with the signs pretty good, so you can where you can turn and where you can go. But if it is unfamiliar or hard to see or any light doesn't work or whatever, you just request a follow me car and stop wherever you are, and they are going to find you where you are and just make you. Since we are pretty heavy, we are going to take off from the very end. Since this is not a long runway, this is a short runway for a heavy aircraft like this. This is good. You guys see the sun. So whenever you guys have the sun, if you guys wanna use it, there's the curtain right there, so you guys can, use it if it's very hard to see it or whatever. But normally it's okay. People can see it. So you can see how quiet the aircraft is. So when you stop, with the parking brakes on, and let's see the cabin. Normally, nighttime flights, night flights, the cabin is off. It is very dimmer. The pilot dimmed the lights for security reasons. But normally that is not done by the pilot. It's from the crew. So simulator, you have the button, but normally it's done by the crew. So you guys can see now it's a way darker, and if you keep going, you're gonna get something like that, because the day's coming up, so no need for the light. So now we got the radio. We talk to the ATC to ask them for the clearance.
Goiania Tower 0516-320 heavy at runway 14 ready for departure, departing straight out.
So you verbalize everything that it's happening.
Heavy, wind 101 at
And you always
straight out, departure
double check
cleared for takeoff runway 14.
what the tower is telling you. So right there,
Cleared for takeoff runway 1405
we said
16320 heavy.
Goiania Tower 0516-320 heavy, because we are pretty heavy. At runway 14, ready for departure, departing straight out. So the tower tell us back 0516-320 heavy, wind 101 at 13, straight out departure approved, clear for takeoff runway 14. Then you confirm again that clear for takeoff runway 14, 0516-320 heavy. You verbalize every single thing, and if you do not understand or whatever, you confirm and reconfirm before doing anything. That means before pressing the button to let the parking brake goes off, you have to check and think and rethink that everything's is just fine and you are ready to go. So right now we're gonna let the parking brakes go off, and before that we're going to turn on the landing lights. This is a very nice way to see it. A lot of people don't get the opportunity to see it, but I'm gonna show you guys, because you can turn off the light, the landing lights, but you don't have to retract the you guys can see right there, if we press the landing light button, but no, you're not gonna just the right one, it's gonna come out, but it's not on. And if we want to turn it on, we have the landing lights. And if we go on the other side, it's still retracted. So it's pretty realistic. So it's coming out too. And now we are landing lights is on. So strobe lights auto, we can turn it on. Wing lights on, since it's at night, but there's no need to be wing lights on because it's the crack of dawn, so sun's coming up, as you guys can see right there. So we are good. Strobe lights right there. If we use the manual way, if we put on the auto, it's gonna be off. We're going to start So we align with the runway like that. We make sure everything is okay. Now we press auto brake to max and we arm the spoiler. Why is that? Because if we do not arm the spoiler and there is an emergency, the aircraft might stay out or disconnect from the runway. So the spoiler, if there's any emergency that comes out or whatever, this is checklist. You always have to follow checklists. So whenever you do that, turn on the brake fan. It's very important because of the temperature. Since we didn't tax a lot, our brakes are in 80 degrees, so it's all right. But depending on the airport you're on, you will need to be with your brake fan, and before landing or during the landing, actually before the landing, it's on the checklist, you turn your brake fan because it will cool down the brakes. So we put the airplane take off. You see the light screen, everything all right. Go toga because we are very, very heavy. Wind 140, rotate, computer will tell you you need to track the landing gear, turn on the autopilot. It's going to start following the route. Always eyes on the instruments. Now if you can see here, it's telling you to put the lever on the climb position. So with that, the computer will put the speed that it needs. But remember, you cannot go
Goiania Tower 0516-320 heavy frequency
the
change.
speed more than 200 and 250 under 10,000 feet. So if you are under 10,000, you need to have your takeoff lights on, and you need to have your speed lower than 250 knots. So we are pretty fast. As you can see, we have the wind on our tail, so we can come here, unarm the spoiler, turn off the brake fan, no need. It's way better now. See, it's just 120 difference. So that means the crossfade is working just fine. Let's put on. Now we're gonna check with the tower about our approach. So we are landing at Anapolis Airbase, 120, 250. So we go here, 120. If you press it, automatic will change to active. And we request the full stop landing.
0516-320 heavy tree 4 miles southwest 7,000
Remember
feet to
that
land.
we still, since we are under 10,000 feet, we have our strobe lights, just like I told you guys before. It's auto. So
Fly straight in runway 06 left
I just
0516-320
acknowledge,
heavy.
but if you can see here, Anapolis Tower, 0516-320 heavy, 34 miles southwest, 7,000 feet to land. You are informing the tower your intentions. So, since your intentions are to land, the tower tells you right back, 0516-320 heavy, Anapolis Tower, altimeter 3015, wind 17 at 6, flight straight in and runway 06 left. Then you phrase back confirming what you just heard. Flight straight in and runway 06 left, 0516-320 heavy. Always informing the full, and if you have any other intentions, if you don't know where the airport is or wherever, you always talk with the tower. Always. Period. So now we have our position, we have our flight plan, if we go here to see it, that we are, everything is just fine. We are straight with the runway. Now we just have to lower our speed because as you guys can see here, we are pretty close. So we're going passing right now to, and now we're going to that Alpha November 004. So after that, that means we are 3 nautical miles. You can see right there we are 21 nautical miles from this waypoint, and right after that we are 21 nautical miles, and after that we are just 10 miles from the runway. So we need to lower our speed and go to this altitude that tells here. But once again, you have this in your flight plan telling you the terrain and everything. And over here it's going to be showing you the terrain, whatever you need it. So you have the realistic satellite photos simultaneously while you are flying. It is showing you what is going on. And we are now going to put our speed lower. We go to 150. While we do that, as you can see here, we are going slower. We're going to change in 12 nautical miles. We're going to change waypoints, and we're going to be at the last waypoint. Then, as you can see here, your limit speed and your knot speed, the one maximum 230 knots, 2 maximum 215 knots, 3 maximum 185 knots, and full is 177 knots. Since we are full of weight, we are taking all the precautions that we need. So now we are going to tell the computer that we need to be at 3,700, and we are going to 2,000 feet per minute. So the computer automatically starts the descent. All our lights good. We're going to put our speed brake armed, our brake fan on, doesn't need right now, because the co-pilot, if you are the co-pilot, you're going to turn it on whenever the captain tells you to do so. This is a very tricky region because
2,500.
it is a place that see, it's telling you that it's almost, we are over speeding the flap position. So you pull up a notch, so when I told you guys about the tricking region, it's about the mountains. So you don't have to worry about this mountain here, because we are what the flight management computer told us to be. So if you can see right there, we are
1,000.
good, but the computer is telling you that. So if you see it,
Too low. Gear.
it's telling us that the gear is not out. And as a precaution, the computer made a decision to just climb for security reasons. Because we are a very low airspeed. Now we just as you can see, it's a very tricky region because there's a lot of mountains. What we do is, so as you can see, the radio, the ATC is connecting us, it's telling us that we are clear to land. So it says 0516 320 heavy, wind 13231, clear to land at runway 06 left. So you verbalize that,
Clear to
then
land runway
tells
06
you
left 0516320 heavy.
if you stay out the radio too long, it's gonna ask you again,
1,000.
and again and again. So, and after you are now it's telling you, so you can turn it off the autopilot. Landing gears are down, spoilers are armed, very softy way. Carefully.
200.
Always pay attention about the lights.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Crosswing, little heavy right there. Now we have our spoilers out. Reverse engines.
0516
Close the engines.
20 heavy exit runway when able.
Computer is telling you that the spoilers is still out. Turn on the brake fans. Put up the flaps.
Heavy, turn next taxiway.
Now you turn off the landing lights. And don't forget to turn on the APU, which since you are the pilot in flying, you are, this is gonna be done
0516
by the one for who is monitoring the
0516 20 heavy contact ground on 121.9er.
So the tower is asking, is requesting us that
Going to 121.9er
they are
0516 heavy.
not monitoring us anymore. And now we are with the ground frequency. So as you can see right there, we confirm cleared to land, runway 06 left, we landed, and after the tower keeps telling you turnway, exit, turn next taxiway. We did it after they set us with our flight number 051632 heavy. Did you hear my last transmission? Because when you don't answer, they keep contacting me. And after you confirm, going to 121.9 0516 pre-20 heavy. Goodbye. So now we are talking with the ground. Since it's a military airbase, there's no ground tower. There's just for takeoff. We don't need taxi or whatever. So you can request taxi, but there's not this option on this airport, specific airport. So if you see over here, the brakes are going up and up and up. The fan is on, but we are going to the end, and turn, make a U-turn, so we can be face towards to the runway. But of course you're gonna have the exactly spot to be parked. That's not up to you. You just paid to just deliver the passengers, the cargo, whatever you're carrying, and park the aircraft where you need to park. You do not disobey any order. You do not make any decisions. You just follow as you're told. So right now we have our APU available. We do not have external power available here in this airport. So we parked. Now we turn off the engines. We go up. Turn off the taxi light, the runway, the beacon light. Since we are finishing, we can go out here. The noise that you can hear is from the APU. That's the noise from the brake. So the engine are off. And the only light that is still on is the navigation, which is the last light that you turn it off. The noise that you can hear is from the brakes. And as you can see, the ailerons and elevators all are in the position of parked. So in real life, there's a bunch of people taking off the cargo, ground service, taking off the passengers, the crew, opening the doors, following all the procedures. The pilots are just waiting to cool down. After that are done, turn off the navigation lights. You can turn off the APU. And the battery. So it's gonna pop up the screen that you just finished your flight. So you just press the battery off, and that's it. You finish your flight. So just to be clear, those alarms that we had before above the mountains, if you guys remember, was because the FMC asked for 3,700 feet, and we were at was 3,700 feet. We were at 3,700, but the FMC informed us that we need to be at 30 3,780 feet. So if we were in that altitude, we were going to be just fine. But that is issues that needs to be pay attention. You need to pay attention in those types of situation. This specific aircraft have a issue with the terrain. So normally you can, like, if you go through those mountains, you cannot see in the night because this airplane, with the issue that it has, it works just the weather radar. The terrain and the elevation system does not work, which sucks, but that's how it is. But if you use the default Airbus A320NEO that comes with the flight simulator, the terrain works just fine, but other things does not work. So we hope we can wait for an update or something to fix this issue, but the elevation, whatever, does not work. Try to check it, to see it, what was the problem or whatever, but it just don't work. You can come over here, you put the windshield, everything just fine. You can change to elevation, you can change to whatever, it just don't work. It just appear if you have rain, clouds, whatever, but the elevation just don't work. So that sucks, but that's how it is. But everything in this plane, it's amazing. Just this very small issue, which is very horrible. And for those who doesn't have the paddles for the rudders, one thing that I forgot to tell you guys is if you are turning manually with your paddle, or if your joystick, or if your flight tools or whatever, you need to come over here and turn rudder controls tiller yes, because as the default comes no, because you turn with your feet. So if you're turning with whatever, because you don't have the rudder pedals, you have to put on the yes options. The sound that you heard about the autopilot that never comes out is annoying. It's because in real life with the pilot is using the stick, as you can see is moving. So when he wants to turn off the autopilot, he never goes with the hand right there and press right here. He don't do that. He just go right here and just press this red button. So if you just turn off your autopilot through here, that noise will automatic come off. So the other problem that it is on display is says here on. Let me just turn off this airplane because I just needed to show you guys the issue with the computer, but now I just did. You see, terrain on. It says on, but it's never on, and it's not clickable. So you cannot. It does not work. So they probably will update and they will fix it, because that's the only thing that I found in this airplane that does not work. Everything else works just fine. And another thing that I found in this airplane, which is kind of pretty weird, was let me show you guys, was the brakes. The brakes takes too long to cool down. And as you guys saw, I did not use the auto brake. I just use the auto brake to take off, but not to land. So I'm turning on the APU because I just want to show you guys the temperature of the brakes. That doesn't mean anything right now, but if you have a very high temperature, it is a big deal. So you always have to wait to cool it down, which is a very important thing to do. So when the computer comes up, I'll show you guys the temperature right now. The fan, the brake fan is working. Now the computer came up. So as you guys can see right there, 430 degrees. So it's very, and it pop up to the word hot. So that's it. And then over here it tells you brakes hot, park preferred chocks. So if you just put the chocks, it probably will cool down faster. As you can see here, when you cool down, there's a pressure, a hydraulic pressure on the brakes. But if you just take it off, you just have, and while the brakes still on, if you keep watching, you're going to see the temperature slowly goes down. Right now it's still going up because the brakes were off, but after while you are doing your flight plans, your next flight or whatever, you're going to have all your equipment on, the brakes will start cooling down and everything's going to work just fine. Alright, thank you for watching. If you guys like this video, just comment below or just like the video. I appreciate you guys' help, and thank you for watching. We are trying to do our best to get better results every day. Okay, thank you guys. Y'all have a nice one.